And I know you started here in the Panhandle and are still really active in this market. So I thought you'd be a great person to come speak to the audience. I really appreciate that, and thank you for being here. So just kind of a little background. There's a lot of people in here that are currently doing deals. Some people who are just starting out, getting their feet wet in real estate. So I think it's good to have somebody on here who was in our shoes, and it really was able to scale out of that and then kind of be in our neck of the woods here and was able to do it. So it shows the possibilities if we stick with it and are committed that we can reach success. Um, so everyone, tonight we have Bill Allen, who, like me, was in the military. He's actually in the Navy, though. I want to say a lesser service, but a different service. But he got to fly, so he did something cool. So he was a Navy pilot, still flying reserves, I believe, right, Bill?
Yeah, I still get to fly part-time.
Yeah, so that's awesome. And Bill's also a real estate professional and CEO of Seven Figure Flipping and host of the Seven Figure podcast. You guys can listen to that as well. He's super good on there. And on that podcast, he leads like the top flipping and wholesaling discussions, and also is runs the very successful flipping and wholesaling Seven Figure Altitude group now. So just a few years ago, he was stuck doing just one or two deals at a time and doing all the work himself, which I've been in that boat myself, and I know some other people in here are too. I was able to get out of that by building a very systematized business that is now able to run without him, which is super awesome. I think, Bill, you were saying you work like 2 to 3 hours a week, which is awesome because that frees up your time to pursue your passion and still fly and also be very involved and committed to your family, which I love that about you and your story, and really respect that. And now with Blackjack Real Estate, based out of Nashville, also active in a few other southeastern markets to include Pensacola. And with Blackjack Real Estate, they're doing around 200 deals a year, which is huge, awesome volume. And then also leads a team of 15 super high performing people. So Bill, welcome. Thank you for being here. And I'll just turn it over to you to talk a little bit, kind of give any background I missed, and just introduce yourself to the group here.
Yeah. Well, Blake, thanks for having me, man. It was nice to meet you. It's been like seven months or so ago that we met.
Since Flip Hacking. Yeah, it was a great event, by the way. So if anybody hasn't been, need to go next year or this year.
Yeah, it was cool seeing you in San Diego out on the kind of outside there overlooking the water where I used to fly. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's interesting because I started a meetup just like this in Pace, Florida. So right down the street from you guys. It's a small group of people. We kind of grew from 3 or 4 people to 5 people to 10 people to 30 people. And then I moved to Nashville and that kind of like fizzled out. But I will say, like, it's interesting. Obviously we're all virtual right now and doing these things from our home. And I loved kind of networking and getting to know people. So a small group is where I'm a lot more comfortable than you might think. Blake, seeing that event with like 600 people there, I'm just worn out at the end of it. So hopefully today we can dive into some of the stuff that you guys want to know about, want to learn about, those kind of things. But like Blake said, 5 years ago, I was doing flipping one house a year and just kind of build a team around me. And we got to the point where we're doing more than that. So I think that it wasn't too long ago. I don't know where each of you are, but too long ago that I was just trying to figure this stuff out, and I'm still trying to figure it out today. So just a little bit different problems that I have today. So he said I work like 2 hours a week. It's true, but I work like 60 or 70 hours a week in the other business now. So I still work really, really hard. I couldn't just sit on the couch and do nothing. So the real estate company is running. I have a great COO. He does an awesome job for us and allows me to do some other things that I like to do a little bit more. So
yeah, I should have specified with that more. That's 2 to 3 hours on the real estate company, and then the everything else that you're involved with is
a lot more with all the other stuff.
Yeah, that's been super impactful, like the podcast and the groups and stuff like that, and the training events, which are awesome.
I've also got 3 little kids. I got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So that's what my life, they take up a lot of my time too. So they're upstairs playing. And when we get done, I'll be able to put them to bed, which is pretty cool about being a real estate investor, is I get to, be home when I want to be home and do what I want to do.
That's great. And that's that you mentioned that's kind of what ties or pulls me into real estate is that desire to have the flexibility and be there for my family, like you're able to now. My wife and I we're planning on having like 4 or 5 kids, so it's going to be busy one day. So
You better make that decision after you get to 2, and then decide again after 3.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
after that, I have no advice for you. I don't know
Yeah,
the
we
math.
both came from really big families, so we're both just kind of like ready to dive into it and create our own little like just home of mayhem at the
Basketball team. Cool.
yeah, yeah. But awesome. Yeah, thanks for giving that background on you. Kind of how I wanted to start out is none of us are at the 200 deals a year mark yet, so kind of wanted to step back to the beginning. When you're still here in Pensacola doing the flips and the wholesales. So just taking it back kind of to the beginning, when you're still in the Navy, why real estate, and what did those beginning days look like for you?
Well, I wasn't making enough. I wasn't making money fast enough in the stock market. That's kind of it. Like I'm really impatient, and I tracked my net worth, and I would invest and I would save. I was living off of like 45% of my salary and just saving money, and it just wasn't really going anywhere. I mean, I remember putting money in when my son was just before he got born, putting it into a 529 account. And 3 years later, it had gone up from like 50,000 to like $52,000. I just said, this is crazy. Like I could make a lot more somewhere else. I was buying rental houses and like moving. So if you guys are, I don't know if everybody's military or just a couple people, but I would move and then I'd buy a house, live in it, I'd fix it up, and then I'd move out and rent it out. And I did that like twice. And then I started seeing more income and my net worth was going up. And so I flipped my first house. My realtor, it was a rental property actually. And my realtor said you could sell this and make pretty good money. And good money turned out to be $43,000. And I was like, whoa, this is like half of what I made this last year.
Yeah.
So that felt really good. So I said, let's do that again if we can. It took like 6 more months to find the next one. Did another one, made 45,000 on the next one in Pensacola. I moved from Maryland to Pensacola and made 45 grand on the next one. And then I said, wow, I could probably like do this. Can I do this more often? Can I do, instead of 1 a year, could I do 12 a year? And can I do 5 a year? Could I do 6 a year? And if I could, then it'd be incredible. So that's kind of like the path at first. I was fixing up rental properties, and then I was actually like running out of money. I'd buy a rental property, I ran out of cash, so then I flipped one, and then I'd buy another rental, and then I'd run out of cash again, and I just kind of kept doing that. And I personally realized that, and I have nothing against rental properties at all. Like I like them. I think it'll build long-term wealth for sure. But like I said, I'm impatient, and that's like the patient person's game. So I sold a lot of those to free up cash to do more active income and velocity. And now I invest more money with like apartment buildings and other people that go do that stuff and are really good at it. So yeah, for me, I kept running out of cash. So I do the conventional way though. Like I was putting 20% down, buying a house with a mortgage. And then
Yeah.
I kept doing that. So there's lots of better ways to do it on the rental side that we can talk about today, but that was my world. And I was only making like 8% returns on the rental houses. It was driving me nuts when I really looked at it. And then one bad air conditioner, one bad roof for the year
There goes your profit.
crushed me. Yeah. They crushed my profit for the year. So I'm just
Yeah.
impatient. I'm incredibly impatient. I've learned that about myself. So I
It's
like to flip at high
creed.
volume.
Yeah, that's like the entrepreneur's creed right there, is to get it going faster and find what works for you, and to see kind of that progression there. To start out with rentals and decide, all right, it's working. I'm getting a return, but it's not what I want it to be. So making that pivot into flipping. So you said in there, you stopped and asked yourself the question, how do I do um, how do I do more of this? How do I scale it? How do I do, turn 5 into 10? How do I turn, or 1 into 5, 5 into 10? And me personally, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I know, like Jesse, for example, his goal is, he just flipped one, got one on the market, and his goal is to do 6 more this year. I know Maggie is very similar, like in that scaling mindset. So how do you deal with that question? And specifically in the flipping space, how did you deal with that question? How to take it from 1 to 5, for example?
Yeah. So I think the next thing to do is to figure out what's holding you back. So like what's stopping you? And I thought it was like a one-man show type deal that I needed to do. So for me, I said, I'll just do 12 a month. It just means that I have to work harder. right? I just have to spend more time. I have to get up earlier. I have to find more deals. I have to buy from wholesalers. That's what I have to do. And, I was fortunate enough to have a mentor at that time tell me, like, that's not how you do it. You have to figure out how, like, what your limitations are and figure out what you need to do to work through that. So for me, my limitations were time. I had some money. I had access to money. Money wasn't holding me back at the time. And so it was time. It was the fact that I just couldn't, I was flying all day, 10, 12 hours a day, every single day, Monday through Friday. And one weekend a month, I had to fly for the squadron. And so I needed somebody to do a lot of things for me. So I needed an assistant, basically. I need somebody to put lock boxes on, turn on utilities, or go run around to Home Depot and Lowe's and do the books and deal with leads and answer the phones. Because at that point, I was going to go do some marketing myself. And so I needed that person, and I was deathly afraid to hire that person. I told him, no, I'm not doing it. Absolutely not. There's no chance, no way. I don't want to be responsible for somebody put food on their table, all that stuff. And he said, all right, well, just think about, you want to flip 12 houses a year and you're having trouble doing one. So I don't even know how you're going to do two, let alone 12. And so I said, well, I'll think about it. I thought about it, came back like a week later and said, all right, fine, just show me how to hire somebody. So then I hired somebody, and that was a big part of it. So for some people, it might be money, like money might be holding them back. For some people, it might be the deal velocity and volume, like actually finding enough deals. Like they have the money, they have the time, but they just can't find the properties. Other people, it's just the way that they think. They think that 2 or 3 is enough. Like, what do I do if I get a second one under contract? Well, I have one under contract right now. It's like just trying to figure out what's holding you back and what's limiting you, and figure out what to put in place to stop that. Because I think a lot of times what we do is we try to figure out and Blake, you were at Flip Hacking Live, so you heard me talk about it, is about like figuring out the how to do things. Like we're constantly, I don't know how to do this. Let me take time to figure out and learn it and do all those things. And if you're going to scale and grow, you really have to bring in like other people, partners, contractors, realtors, things like that. A lot of times we say like, I want to make more, I'll make more money if I just do those things myself. But a lot of times that's what's holding us back, truly, is we're afraid to give things up, and that doesn't allow us to grow bigger than we are.
Yeah, and that's that mind shift, mindset shift you're talking about, is finding what's limiting you, and you think if you can just work harder. And I've definitely been like victim of this too. Like, if I just get up an hour earlier, I can find the extra 5 deals I need to analyze to get the offer on one to at the end of the week have one under contract. So for you, part of that was hiring somebody to help with that. And I know one of the lessons at Flip Hacking, one of those sections in that event, was about how to hire the right people. But for somebody just starting out who has like kind of loose systems in place for how they do things, how do you go out at the beginning stage and find that person to supplement you, so you're freed up to do the revenue drivers rather than just the tasks that take up time?
Well, I think the first step is to figure out what you want, like what you need help with. So create kind of a job description. So what I did at that time was I just wrote down every single thing that I was doing. I mean, everything, write it all down. Like I'm going to Home Depot, I'm putting lock boxes on houses. I got to buy the lockbox. I got to turn on the utilities. I got to call the utility company. I got to, I don't know what else I was doing, sending wires, tracking receipts, taking pictures, like what's happening in everything that you're doing. Going to find contractors, interviewing contractors, putting out an ad on Craigslist to find the contractors, like posting in Marketplace. I mean, you can go on and on, all the things that you're doing, get really granular, mowing your grass. Like, what are the things that you're spending all of your time on? Just carry around a notebook, and every day you're like doing a task, like just write it down. And at the end of the week, you'll have this huge thing and you'll realize how much you're trying to do. Right. And then from there, I don't know if we need to spend a ton of time on it, but if you go back one step, it's kind of calculating your dollar per hour. That's the first thing that I did. How much money did I make in the last year, including everything? How many hours, approximate hours, did I work? The amount of money I made in a year divided by the approximate number of hours I worked. That was my dollar per hour when I started. Mine was $55 for an example. It's pretty good. I was pretty happy with it then. I think it's $1,000 an hour now. So Blake, I'll send you my address. You can send me the check. but it's like right now, like I was in a mindset of like $55 an hour. That's pretty good. I feel like I'm making pretty good money. So then you got two options. Then you can work more hours to try to make more money, right? Or you can actually work less and try to make the same amount of money. So you've got different, or increase your dollar per hour. So make $200 an hour, work the same amount of hours, you'll end up making more money, right? So I have this $55 per hour. Then I have this laundry list of things that I'm doing. And I say, who can do this stuff for less than $55 an hour? And then what other things am I not doing? What other things am I saying no to that I should be doing? And for me, I hate to talk on the phone. So I did not want to answer the phone. And when the phone was ringing, it was marketing that I was spending, right? So I was not answering the phone and I wasn't making offers and I wasn't doing the stuff that I should be doing to really like move the business forward. And so for that, I could actually pay somebody $12 an hour to answer my phone, right? Or $10 an hour, or $8 or $15 or whatever it is. And so I stopped cutting my grass that year. I don't think I've cut my grass since 2015. I sold my lawnmower in like 2016 or 17 because for like $20 an hour, someone will come to my house and cut the grass. And so I have two options. I can do something else for that hour, or I can go play with my kids and spend time with my family and not be out in the yard sweating like crazy. And it's also
Especially in
next
Florida
step
heat
is,
when it gets real humid.
yeah. And it's not my favorite thing to do either. So if it was my favorite thing to do, if I absolutely love lawn care and I love cutting grass, then it might not be the thing that I give up, but it's not really that interesting to me. So as you look at all that stuff, see like, what can you give up? So that created the job description for me. So now that I have the job description, I can go out and look for somebody. And I mean, in 2015, I hired everybody off Craigslist. Just was the way it is, or a referral. And now we have like a full blown system to hire people and where to put ads out. And I will tell anybody, if you're hiring your first person, you don't need a full blown system. Okay. You need to figure out somebody that you don't mind spending time with. You can relate to, they have your core values, and they're going to be an asset and a good person inside the company. Now, don't hire your sister-in-law or your brother-in-law or your cousin or your neighbor or your best friend. Like those are the easy ways. Don't go the easy route because 99.5% of the time it won't work out. But if you figure out who you are and your core values and don't give lip service to that, I think it's really important to figure out who you are, attract those kind of people into your company or just work with you, especially in the beginning. You're very grassroots. Like I was working out of my house. Dee Dee was working out of her house. And occasionally we just got along really well. Like we had mutual respect for each other. We were excited about the opportunity. She could see the vision of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And I got her excited about the future. And I think as a business owner, when you don't have a lot of money and you don't have a track record and success and all that stuff, you've got to figure out how to be a leader and cast the vision of what's possible, because they see it and they go, I want to follow that person and I want to go there. They're going somewhere. I'm going to tag along with them.
Absolutely, that drive and that focus towards that vision is definitely contagious. And so for you in the beginning, that was kind of instrumental in gaining your team, and also you said in there like hiring through your values, right? So finding the people that match kind of that vision and fit into it as well. And I know it. So flip hacking live, for example, you talked about um, hire the person, not the not for the task. Like they might be qualified, but if they don't fit those values, then they're probably not going to be the person to help you grow and get to that vision. Can you
Yeah.
speak on that a little bit with, when you're choosing people, like say for somebody like me who has no employees right now and I'm going to look for my first person, and I'm, what am I looking for in that person?
Yeah. So most people do it backwards. I think they hire the resume instead of
Yeah.
hiring the individual. So the resume doesn't really tell you everything that's there. So what I like to do and our process is step one is know yourself. Like we talked about, like where are your strengths and where are your weaknesses. And then if you're going to hire somebody, you really want to hire somebody out that's strong where you're weak. So you're not necessarily strengthening all your weaknesses and working on that and figuring it all out and spending time on it. Like know who you are and where you struggle. So if you're not very detail oriented, then you need to hire somebody that has some detail work, right? And if you're the visionary and you're casting the vision and you can see the future, you might want somebody who can get into the details and stay on task and focus and filter some of those crazy ideas that you have. So for us, we don't even look at the resume until after we see like personality profiles, core value fit, those kind of things. We'll look at the resume and see like, do they have a broad brush of that talent? Like Dee Dee, I hired my first hire. Her name was Dee Dee. She's actually my second hire. My first hire was 2 weeks, and then her husband moved for another job, and that crushed me. I was like, I spent all this time like hiring this person and training her for 2 weeks, and then they're moving to Virginia. Like, oh my gosh, wah wah, right? And so we just kind of went back to the drawing board, hired this woman named Dee Dee, and her and I basically started the company together. So she didn't necessarily have like a ton of experience, like answering phones and doing all that stuff. There's a little bit, but she was just the right person. Like, we really got along well. She definitely shared my values. Um, she definitely was driven and excited about the opportunity and growth potential here. And I could tell, like, she just wanted somebody to give her a chance. Like, she was going to make it. She's going to figure it out and just give me a chance. I'll do it. She'll do anything. She was super hungry, just like me. And together we were able to kind of grow the company. And from the beginning, and she did have some background in bookkeeping and stuff, and I needed some of that. But
Mhm.
it wasn't the resume. I don't think I've ever seen her resume even to this day.
Made it first hire
Because
with
I didn't know what I was doing. I definitely, like, we just kind of like met online. We were talking to each other in a real estate forum about what she was interested in doing. I met her at a RIA meeting just like this. She was trying to wholesale. She was struggling. I had some money behind me. I was excited to get going. I actually joined a mastermind group. So I had all this experience around me, these people who were doing like huge things. And so I leveraged some of that. Like, I have access to people who are doing exactly what we want to do. We'll just figure out how to do it. And she prayed about it, got with her husband, spent some time, and said, okay. Like, I said, look, you're struggling to do it. Why don't we just do it together? Will you come on the team and be a lead manager? This is what I can pay you. I think that your potential is greater. And she was at a point where she's like, yeah, I'm done spending money on trying to get this going. I'd rather work with somebody and get paid a salary, And so she did it. And so we do look at resumes now. I mean, if you're going to apply for a sales position in our company and you have no sales experience, then you're probably not going to even get an interview. But you don't have to be like a huge corporate salesperson either. So I think I'd rather have the right core value fit and the right person than I would rather have like the massive resume. And because a lot of times there's a whole lot of garbage on there anyway.
Yeah, that's great. That's so helpful. I think to all of us, but right now that's kind of the internal battles I'm having with myself. Like when I'm looking into this stuff, like how do I get to that next level, and do I bring on help? Do I find a partner? So maybe that's something to look into a
Well,
little bit.
if it makes you feel any better, number one, I didn't want to hire anybody. Number two, the first person that I hired lasted 2 weeks and then quit. Number three, I had basically no idea what I was doing. And number four, I pretty much fumbled my way through, hired 4 people by the end of that year. And it was just like organic growth as I went. There was need for it. And you heard Andy McFarland speak on stage. So he was kind of my
Yeah,
first mentor, the person that I came in and copied his business. But he talks about it like a cup. It's like a cup of water. So I was a cup of water, and my cup of water was overflowing, right? And so what I did was I took another cup and I put it underneath my cup, and the water flowed into her cup. I basically like emptied half
yeah,
my cup into her cup, and then our cup started filling up, and then they started overflowing. So we brought in somebody else and just emptied some of our cup into their bucket, and then we just kept kind of doing that over time. And we would bring in maybe the next person, and the company. Sometimes you're not ready. You don't think you're ready, I should say. Like, okay, there's another principle called the manana principle. Like, I'll get to it manana, right?
yeah,
Tomorrow. And manana never comes. So we're always like, I will hire somebody when I get another deal under contract, when I get more money in the bank, when I can afford to pay them for the next 6 months and never bring in any money again. That limits us to the potential of what we can grow into and where our company can go. So, for me, that was the best thing that ever could have happened to me. And now I'm totally addicted to it. It's a problem. I have somebody that does, like, I hire somebody for almost everything.
just that's awesome. So in the beginning, I mean, as you grow, it's finding the timeline. So if I'm doing 2 deals now, but I want to do 4, when I hit that 4, I'm going to go hire somebody to help out so I can keep expanding. And that worked well for you, is what you're saying?
Yeah. And it wasn't like now I'm doing 2. When I get to 4, I'll hire that person. It's like there's a demand coming, right? So I want to hire a little bit ahead of the demand. And so,
Yeah.
like, if I hired the first person before I actually did very much of anything. I was doing a couple deals, but I knew that without that help, there's no possible way that I could get there. It's just not possible. So what I did was I set aside a 6-month runway for her pay, for marketing, for all that stuff. And I said, look, 6 months, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to commit to it. It was, for me, it was $5,000 a month. So I put $30,000 aside and I said, look, I'm ready to commit to this business with 30 grand and a little bit of my time, the amount of time that I had. And I'm going to commit to it. I told my wife, I said, you're probably not going to see me that much this year. It's going to be kind of miserable. I would wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. I'd work till 6:30 or 7. They'd get up. My wife and our baby would get up around 7. And then I'd have breakfast with them. I'd go fly all day. I'd come home and I'd play with the baby, put him to bed. My wife would watch TV and I'd go in the office and I'd be there till, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night. And I would repeat that just about every day. And then every weekend I was driving around to job sites, making offers, doing stuff like that. And that was the commitment that I had. And then I also had $5,000 a month. And it took me 4.5 months to get our first wholesale deal, which was $22,500 in of my 30 grand. So most people quit around month 1, month 2, month 3, maybe month 4. So 4.5 months in is when the first check went into the bank, and it's like scary, right? So you gotta, that's why I think you really have to set aside the timeline and be committed to it, because most people quit. Like you've seen that 3 feet from gold caricature probably, right? This idea of like, you're right there. The guy turning around with his pickaxe, he's like right there. And the other guy's still hacking away. So like, that's what it feels like. So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you went from doing 1 deal a year to 67 to 135 to 187 to wherever you are. Like, yeah, but in the midst of it, it felt like it was just normal. It's just going. Like when you look back, it looks
just
fast.
get to the next deal and just focus on
just get to the next. It's funny because my kids watch this Frozen movie all the time, Frozen 2 now. And I think there's a song in there that's like the next right thing or something like that. They are singing all the time. And I was watching it. So I watch these movies and I just like write down all these quotes and stuff. There's so many awesome quotes from Disney. And that's the thing. It's just like the next thing, like just get to the next thing and the next thing, and just one foot in front of the other. It's just, if I set out to say I'm going to do 200 deals a year, like, and that result dictated my actions, my belief, and the way that I felt and my potential, and I would be failing. I just wanted to do 1 deal. And then after 1 deal, I wanted to do 1 more deal, and then the next one and the next one. And then they start compounding on each other and you start getting good at it. You start changing your beliefs start changing, and then your action starts changing and you see those results. So if there's anything that you get out of this, it's the fact that you need to measure results, like small results, like not big results. Don't say like, I'm a failure if I don't get my first deal. So if you look back at that 4.5 months and say, okay, if I said like the goal is 1 deal and that's how I'm going to measure success, then for every month for 4.5 months, I'm basically going to be beating myself up for failing. Right. But if I say, hey, I'm going to get a call, and then I'm going to make an appointment, I'm going to make an offer, I'm going to build a system, I'm going to create a website, I'm going to do some things along the way, and that's success. Or I'm going to bid on some houses. I'm going to call 10 realtors. I'm like, those actions that you hit each time are what's going to dictate the results. So that's the key to it, because and you see success each week. You say, hey, this was a successful week because I did this, this, and this. Then that keeps the cycle going, where you start saying, okay, I'm going to take more action next week, and more action and more action. But if during those, the people that I see fail and quit, I shouldn't say fail, people that quit, just stop. And maybe it's not even quit, it's like stopping, is those people are not giving themselves the credit that they need to say that I did this, this is successful, I'm moving forward. They just want it, like, we're kind of like a now world right now. Like we want things like,
very
now,
impatient, very entitled. If you don't get it right off the bat,
deliver my groceries to my house in 1 hour. Give me my Amazon shipment today. Like, get the drone to drop it off in my yard. I want it right now. Like, I will not wait for. So we have to be like, this stuff takes time. It's like the Chinese bamboo stuff, right? So.
Yeah, that's really good. And that's kind of how I've been, and where I've made a little shift recently is being intentional with my goals and starting with that, the end of the year goal and working back to a quarterly goal, to a month, to a weekly, so that I know this week, this is what I have to do. I got to get on the phone with 20 property owners and talk to them. And today I've got to, do that 5 times, and I've got to make 1 offer. So breaking it down, taking that big hairy goal that, you feel like you can miss so easily, but break that down into like actionable items that you can do. So you get a little piece of success. So it's not like constant failure that you're not reaching your big goal today, but you get that little win and you can build off that. So I love that. And I've seen that work for me so far, with just being able to do more, get more offers out, stuff like that. So that's a great point.
You know,
Um,
you said these goals. It's funny because I just opened my iPad because when I, at the beginning of the year, I have a planner, and inside that planner has a 30-day goal, 3-month goal, 6-month and 1-year goals. And you write them
yep,
down at all the different levels. So like nutrition and family and friends and health and
yep,
all that stuff, and financial and business. Yeah, exactly. Most planners have this, right? And so I went back. I mean, we're the 5th month. We're almost through May, right? And I went back and I looked at my 30-day goals, and I was like, just checking off what I did and what I didn't accomplish. And right now, it was last month in April, like late April, and I'm sitting there in quarantine like you guys, going, hey, I just kind of feel like I haven't hit my goals this year. I feel like I'm way behind. And I looked at this and I went, oh my gosh, I checked off every single thing. My 30-day goals done. My 3-month goals were like almost all done. And it was just like, when you look back and you actually like write it down, because if you asked me how I'm doing for the year, I'd be like, I'm behind, like I'm not doing very well.
yep,
But we forget that how far we've come over time. When you look back and see yourself in the rear view mirror, we, like entrepreneurs, we just are like, go, go, go. We just want to look forward. Like I want to look way in the future. Like 3 years from now, I'm not there yet. So, I mean, Bill Gates and Tony Robbins probably said it best. These guys have this. I don't know. I think probably Bill Gates said it first, but Tony says it a lot, and it's attributed to him. But we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 10 or in a decade, depending on who's getting
yep,
quoted, right? And so we can do so much more, but we try to pile so much stuff on us, like now, these 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So be realistic with your goals, and I think in my year goals need to become more realistic, and my long-term goals need to become more audacious. So I'll challenge you guys to do the same.
yeah, that's really good. One thing I wanted to touch in there, with reaching those goals, and this is all while you were active duty too, or correct? Like this scaling was while you're still active.
Yeah.
So in that, how are you able to, be really efficient with your time? Was it time blocking, or was it just taking a chunk out of the day and saying this is all work, like don't bother me? Kind of give us, a little insight into that day to day of how you're able to keep that mindset after the goals.
I'd like to say it was like super intentional. Like I blocked time and I got a calendar and I made sure that I was working on only the highest level tasks that I could ever get done. Not really. I'll say the one thing that has always been successful for me is I write down like the 1, 2, or 3 things that day that I need to get done. Like the big things that if I knock that over and get it done, then nothing else matters. So I'm just like you guys. I get stuck in my email from time to time. Sometimes I get distracted and I zone out for a little bit, and I look back at my day and go, man, I could have been more efficient that day. But if I don't get that one thing done, and so like this week I have 3 things at the top of my list. So I'll tell you what they are. I have 2 podcast episodes that I need to record this week, and so far I've recorded 1. I have I have this 7-day flip series that's coming out on YouTube, and I'm like there's people that are doing some stuff for that, so I need to finalize that. And then I have these webinar edits. So I do a webinar every Wednesday night that I sell something from a webinar that so we run cold traffic to, and I'm starting to learn how to do that. And so I have to edit that, practice it, get better at it, and that's tomorrow night. And I am still way behind. I have no time tomorrow to do it. So inevitably, what happens is at 5 o'clock tomorrow, I end my day, and then the webinar is at 7:30, and I spend the next hour and a half staying at my office working on it to fine tune it and change it. And then about 30 seconds before, I'm like, okay, enough. I hope this
Turn it
works.
on. It's
And I
time to
do it.
go. Yeah.
But those are the 3 things for me for this week. And some of the other things that are like lower level tasks, it's funny because like 4 of those 7 are checked off right now. So it's like, did I really spend my time these past 2 days working on the highest level stuff? No, I spent some time getting the quick things done that I can just check off. Because to me, like you get these things. So you need to stop doing all the garbage. Like, fortunately, I have somebody that checks all my email and schedule stuff. Like I just opened my calendar today and I was like, oh crap, I need to be on this call at 6 o'clock. So, and Jen takes care of all that stuff. So like that helps me. So my recommendation for you guys is to just figure out that one big domino or those two big things, those three big things, and no more than three for sure in a day. And they can't be huge. It can't be something that's going to take you like a whole week to get done. But what's the thing today? Like the one thing, the two things that if you get those done, nothing else matters. And so when I was flying in active duty, it was probably one thing. And now it's like two or three things a day that if I check those off and get them accomplished, then I'm good. Like anything else doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I don't get anything else done at the end of the day. I'm like, that's a successful day. But usually what happens is we do all the little crap. We don't get the big things done. And then we're like, man, I didn't get anything done today. Ever feel like that? Like I see how everybody's shaking their head. I can see three people and they're all shaking.
Absolutely.
So like the other thing that's interesting is we have these employees that feel the same way. They're constantly trying to they constantly feel like there's things being put on top of them and they can't dig out of it. It's because they're really thinking like past and present. Like you've got to continue to build the future stuff right now. So do the bigger stuff. Like if you feel like that, it's probably because you're doing it to yourself. Like you're making yourself feel that way. It's not like you're getting a lot of stuff accomplished and done. You're just not giving yourself like credit for it. Like your real, like true credit for the things that you need to get done. So
yeah,
that's my recommendation.
It's super top of mind lately because I've been reading the one thing. I'm almost done with it. I just started it on Saturday, so I've just been barreling through this book, and it's so good about focusing on that one big thing. Like you're saying, that if you get it done, it's going to make everything else easier, and that's going to drive the progress. Oh, there it is, right there. Yeah,
he's got it. I saw he just put that in the comments too. Charlie did. So yeah, I read the one thing, and it's actually one of the earliest books that I read. And yeah, there's definitely like there's stuff like that in everything that we do. But remember, like go to the action based stuff, not the results based stuff. Like take it steps back, because like I said, if I was basing success off of one deal, that doesn't matter. Like you can't just go say, I need a deal. I'm going to get a deal. I'm going to get a deal. And the brute force gets you a deal. It's like, what are the actions that you need to do to take to get that deal? So
yeah, there's a lot that goes into that deal other than just
10, 20 offers. Like if you just we run these accountability groups inside of our programs, and those things just, if you do those actions every week, like you're at 100% or 70% or 90%, like you will get to your result. But if you're looking at the result, like if I look at my quarterly, like the quarterly rocks, we use EOS. If I look at my quarterly rocks and I'm constantly going like, it's Parkinson's law. It just like contracts to the amount of time that you give it. Like I wait till the last minute every time. If I got a to-do list and it's not due till next week, like I'll do it an hour before it's due.
Yeah, that's how I feel like that a lot of the time. That's good. Making a little transition here. I know we've talked a lot about like goals and actions and everything. One thing I'd like to touch on is how you let your life goals, what you wanted, like, your life to look at, like, because of real estate, drive your real estate goals. Like, so how did the business drive, where you wanted to be?
Well, it's interesting because in the beginning it was about money, right? So I needed to make money and I wanted more money. So I thought money bought freedom and time, right? And then it became, I got some money, we became successful in the real estate business. And then I said, well, I really, now I'm kind of trading time for money. I want my time back. So I'm actually willing to make less money to have more time. And then I got my time back when Nate came in and started running the company. And then I got bored. I never really like transitioned completely to doing nothing, but I had this other company that I was working for, right? Justin's company, this 7-figure flipping company that I was working for, and Nate took over my company. So I wasn't working like 80 hours a week or 100 hours a week. But I just felt like I could do more, like I could accomplish more. And so I got to the point where it wasn't necessarily time that I wanted. I wanted more freedom. Like I just wanted to decide to work because I wanted to work, not because I had to work, and I could do different things. And then we started impacting like more people. And when we could like bless people with like donations and giveaways and seeing other people become successful in their businesses and help them and coach them and stuff, that impact started to really become a driver for me. So I think the cool thing about real estate itself and designing your business around it is you can kind of do whatever you want to do. Like if I want to take my computer and put it in a bag today and go fly somewhere and be there for a week, I can still do what I do. I was able to design that business around like just deciding where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. Like we've moved all around. When I have a son who had a heart condition, needed surgery, we were able to pick up and leave in 10 days. We were able to put our stuff, and I was still active duty. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go up to the front office, and they were supportive of me. And it wasn't long after that I left active duty for that. But I had the knowledge. I was able to buy a house in 10 days cash and make an offer from the distance, a house I'd never seen. I don't know if I would do that again. It was pretty beat up compared to the pictures that they showed. But we were able, and then we were able to pack all of our stuff in a truck and drive up to Nashville and move into our house because we had the money, we had the know-how, we had the knowledge, we had all that stuff. And then I was able to fix up the house because it was kind of crappy with some help of some guys off Thumbtack and some contractors that I found doing what I do. And, and then sell it a couple years later, make a profit, and move into the house we're in now. So I think whatever you want in life, like you can have it. You just have to figure out like, what is it going to take to get there? So I still don't know what I want either. So I'm just kind of along for the ride.
I love that.
Deciding what it is.
Where the road takes you.
Yeah. Every day it's a little bit different. Like, I don't know, right now I really am enjoying like putting in a lot of time, energy, and effort into some of the creative stuff that we're doing, like the podcast and the TV shows and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fun. So I'm
pretty excited about the YouTube TV. I'm going to jump on there and learn some good stuff. When I first read that, I was excited. I was like, that's going to actually be really cool. A new kind of novel way to get the content to people. So that'd be cool. Cool. So, right now, I know we're kind of in weird times. So this answer might be a little bit different, but what can a new real estate investor, somebody who's just just dipped their toe in the water, what can they do now to begin to grow and get into this business?
In my mind, I don't think there's ever a better time, to be perfectly honest, because I look at the stock market a lot. Like I used to invest in the stock market for like, I don't know, 20 years. And like when I want to buy stock when the stocks have like crashed and dropped, right? That's when I want to start my investing journey because I have all these places to go, like up, 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 up. I don't want to be getting into retirement when they're dropping, right? And I want to be building that stuff right now. So I feel like right now for the new investor and for the very experienced investor, those are the two people that are like primed and ready to rock. The people who are like growing and scaling a business, just hired 10 people and they're like a little bit ahead of where they should be. They're like trying to grow into that. Those are the people that probably got punched in the face right now. So, and we have a lot of those people in my groups that I'm trying to support and help and things like that. So I feel for them. But I think the new investor right now, I think the key is kind of like, get out there, like understand what's going on, learn, practice, get to know people, network, just figure out like what's next for you. And I think I use this like binge on capabilities. Everybody's like binging on Netflix. What are your capabilities? What are you strong at? So we're kind of out. I don't know what you guys are like down in Florida, but here in Tennessee, like May 1st, I'm back in the gym. The restaurants are open, all this stuff. It's like my kids' school, not the regular school, but the daycares are open and stuff like that. So all of my kids are back in school. So it's like, we're back out of that. But when we're in that season, it was like, what are you spending your time doing and who do you want to be during that time? So my recommendation is to just continue to get trained, get knowledge, but go out and take action too. Like, what are the things that you can do right now to move yourself forward? So I don't know the exact recommendation. I'm always big on like personal development and education, but don't focus only on that. Like you could learn and learn and learn. There's plenty of people that like come to our conference every single year, but don't actually do anything. And every year they come back and they're like, I'm going to do this year. This is so exciting. I can't wait. And then like the next year it's like, this is my year, and look, if they can keep buying a ticket to the conference, it's okay with me, but I really want to see the people that are getting out there and like implementing
see that growth.
Because you can, I love going to play. I love going to things. I buy a ton of courses. I train, like, if there's a new book coming out by somebody that I follow, I'm getting it, I'm reading it, I'm buying a course, I'm doing stuff like that. And I'm just going to like strip through it and see like what's in there. And so I've become a little bit addicted to that. And I think it does help us. But by all means, I think action is the number one thing. Like go out there and flip a house and make $5,000 or break even or lose $1,000. Like the best education you're ever going to get. Like that's my recommendation to everybody. Like I was fortunate enough to make some money, but when I did the math, I made about $11 and like 12 cents or 13 cents. I don't know. I did the math for this webinar that I'm doing. It's $11 that I made an hour, $11 an hour. Like I just spent so much time doing it. Yeah, I said I made $43,000 on my first deal. It sounds great, but I spent so many hours at that house.
Yeah.
So I was really working for a lot less than I could have paid somebody else to do it. So,
Yeah. But the
you know,
education piece is worth it, is what you're saying, because you just took the action and went with
well,
it. Yeah.
I also traded my time for money. I put $43,000 in the bank. That was kind of nice too, right? And
Yeah.
that's $11 before taxes. So after taxes, it's probably like $6 an hour, 650.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad. But but that's the thing, that 43,000 motivates you. So if you look at, so then I just became more efficient. How do you do it? So that my recommendation is to, continue to study, train, learn, and then take that thing and go do something with it. Go take action on it and do a deal. Like, go do a deal.
Awesome. Yeah,
Don't
I
overthink it.
appreciate the advice there. I think action is going to be a big point in the next couple months as opportunities maybe start to arise. What I want to do now is open it up to people who might have questions. I know we unpacked it a lot there and talked about a lot of different things. So what questions do we have out of the group?
This is the really awkward part where nobody.
Hey.
Hi. How are you?
Good. Hey, Bill. I'm Maggie Madow. I was out at Flip Hacking Live in the fall. Blake was out there too. Awesome event. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Maggie, for sharing my stuff, the videos. That's so cool.
Yes.
I see you like and share our stuff. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yes. I am so excited for you and Taylor to launch this TV series. I can't wait for Monday. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, he was so cool. We met out at Flip Hacking to talk for a bit. We actually successfully did a 7-day flip here in Panama City Beach, but I have to admit it was only a $12,000 project. So working my way up to a $40,000 flip in 7 days, but we'll get there.
That's awesome.
Hey, any news on Flip Hacking Live for this fall? I know we're in Orlando, but are you hearing any impacts as of now?
I'm planning. So I've got, let's see, there's only a few people on this call. So, yeah. So right now I'm planning 100% to do it in person. Absolutely. The backup plan, like I have a backup plan and a tertiary plan. So we have like plans after plans after plans. Our event planner is they're doing amazing virtual events right now. I don't want to do that, but right now, like here in Nashville, starting June 1st, they're doing all the events are open. Like we're actually, definitely shouldn't say that. There's events starting in June 1st here in Nashville. And then I think Florida won't be too far behind them. We'll kind of see, like we're planning, like I have a whole marketing campaign behind it. I'm planning a ton of stuff. So I'd love to have it in person. So that's the plan. I don't know anything other than that. I did just like, we're supposed to have a call today about production design and building things out. And I've been planning the program and all that stuff for like the last 2-3 months with the event planner, but they said they're moving the restaurants around a little bit as they're preparing to open the event venue right now. So the restaurant spaces are having to become compliant and stuff like that. So it is changing some of the like the space that we have and things, but I have I'm still planning to have over 1,000 people there, and I'm going to do everything that I can to make it happen, to double from what we were last year. That's 6
months. I can't wait. You do such a great job. So thank you for all that you do, all the content that you share. I actually came to you via Ariane and Chris
nice.
Of last time. And the deals that we've done, the handful of deals that we've done, we've bought from Ariane and Glass Time. So awesome. We're doing our planning to start marketing ourselves. And so this has been a really helpful call to talk about the beginning and how you get that stuff off the ground. So thank you.
Cool. Oh, they're awesome people. They're like my favorite people in the world. They're so cool. Yeah.
So everything's full circle. Ariane and Chris joined our real estate team under Matt Gardner out here that I also joined. He started Meetup here in Niceville, kind of like Blake started, looks like. I just wanted to say, hey, thank you for putting this on, Blake. Bill, your story is amazing. I admit I don't know it that well, but I saw your story, and even though my daughter's being put down, I like to participate in that. But I saw your military background, you too, Blake. I'm also active duty Air Force and multifamily guy. I got 24 units, and I'm trying to syndicate next. And I just want to say, hey, thank you. You've said a lot of things that have reinforced things I should be doing, but am not yet. So I'm going to take some of those lessons to heart. I took good notes. But hey,
all right,
I'm also a real estate agent over here in Okaloosa. So if you guys need anything, I know how to analyze a deal.
Nice. Well, good to meet you, Charlie. If you find some good syndications, I'm a limited partner in a lot of deals, so I'm happy to look it over and I've got occasionally I have some money to invest in deals like that. So
Excellent.
I think we have almost 3,000 units right now. So we have like 2,000 storage units that down in Orlando, just south of Orlando and Davenport. Like we ground up construction and then about 1,000 apartment buildings. So, but again, like I'm the limited partner in most of them. I'm a general partner in some, but I help people raise money for deals. So that's been fun. I like to raise money. I like to negotiate business to business. Like give me another business owner and so when I wholesale deals, I like to talk up the flipper up at $2,000, $3,000, $4,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, just as like a gee whiz thing, is all the, not all, but is like the active income from the business and where you earn there, is that what's going into the passive side as the limited partner type stuff to go bring it full circle?
Yeah. So the way that I structure is like, I know that business can shut off at any time. Like that's all active income, right? Wholesaling, flipping, this stuff's very active. It can ebb, it can flow, it can do all that stuff. Hi, are you getting ready to go to bed? My kids are going to bed in a few minutes. They go to bed at 7 and they sleep till 7. So I hope you sleep till 7 at least.
Yeah, that's good.
Some nights.
Some nights. My wife was a sleep consultant for kids, so she taught all of our kids how to sleep really, really well.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I just basically suck that money out and I either dump it into my IRA, 401k, something like that, and then I go invest in syndications because I can't use the IRA and 401k money in my own company. And I also use like a big life insurance policy for my business that I can borrow against to invest in deals and stuff like that. So yeah, I just kind of suck money out of the active business and then I go build my net worth somewhere else because the valuation of that company, like a wholesaling company, is interesting because I can't really sell it. I mean, I might be able to sell it for a couple $100,000, but not for like $1 million or $2 million or $3 million. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So that's where I can go, and I get massive depreciation on these buildings. So that's interesting for me. And then they need help raising money. So I can get percentages of equity based on the other people that I know that I bring in, and I can raise money for them and with them. So then I get some different shares in the company. And I mean, I probably have like $400,000 in depreciation this year, maybe 500. And
that's awesome. Which you can apply towards the other stuff. Yeah.
Can offset a ton of active income because that our flipping and wholesaling businesses are taxed really, really high.
Yep. Yeah, that's really smart and good. Just like I was saying for GWiz, because I'm kind of doing what Charlie's doing now, getting into syndication stuff and having those discussions with potential investors of how they can use their Roth IRA and roll that over into self-directed and invest in these kinds of things. So that's good to know that and see how it's working for you too.
I got a great raising money presentation plan for Flip Hacking Live this year, so you guys all have to come to watch it.
Okay, I'll bring the notebook and take notes. That'd be good.
We'll give you a notebook when you show up.
Oh, perfect. I'll just show up ready to learn. But yeah, I know the kids are getting here to sleep real quick, so I want to be respectful at that time. So we'll kind of just skip ahead. So one thing I want to talk about before we get out of here is even before Flip Hacking Live, we got coming up in 10 days now is Veterans Live, which for the people that don't know here, and Bill, you can speak to it a little bit more. But Veterans Live is a live event put on for real estate investors. And it's all, maybe not all by veterans. I don't know about every single presentation, but very heavily. And it's open to everybody. And the great part about it, which I really love, is all the proceeds or everything from it is going to charity. So it's not a for-profit event. It's all going to charity. So it's going to be just like Flip Hacking Live, like come and get tons of value. The guys that are speaking at this event are super successful in every different realm of real estate and everything. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up. And Bill, if I missed anything.
Well, I totally forgot about that. I appreciate you bringing it up. So at the end of this month, May 29th and 30th, it is all like every speaker is a veteran, or we got some active duty people. We got active duty E4, E5. We got all kinds. It was on Bigger Pockets. Like I put a post on Bigger Pockets and there was like 300 people. I put a demand signal out. I was like, how many people want to do this?
That's where I saw it.
And I was
where
like, yeah, there's like 300 people that want to do this. So then I was like, all right, I'll have this live event. We'll put it together. The plan was to do it in St. Louis. They obviously everything with the coronavirus shut us down and pushed us virtual.
But it's still going.
Yeah, it's still going, and it's May 29th and 30th, so it's Friday and Saturday. It's really cheap. We dropped the price like way down to $99 for just like general ticket, and then there's some VIP levels and access and stuff like that. But all the recordings will be housed in like a membership site, so you can watch them. It's kind of like a job fair, is the way I look at it for real estate investors. So we have I just talked to Whitney Sewell today on his podcast, and he's our apartment building syndicator that's going to come talk. We have single family landlord talking. We have a Burr investor, house hacker. We have a wholesaler, flipper, mindset coach. We have a financial independence advisor that's going to come talk. VA loan specialists. We have a real estate agent who's going to talk about building huge real estate teams. He does $1 billion in real estate. It's insane. And we have, who else do we have? Turnkey investment company, mobile home parks, like every niche that you could possibly be interested in is covered here. And
that's what I'm saying. It's everything. And they're all great guys too, like super, super good businessmen and good people. So it's going to be a super value packed event. And
I would recommend anybody come. It's probably the best $100 you'll ever spend. $99 actually. I'll save you $1. And every dollar, like I'm not taking a payment for this. I'm not paying my staff. I'm not paying any of our operational costs or anything. It's all going to a charity. And we picked the Veterans Community Project. So they build tiny houses in different cities around the U.S. to get homeless veterans off the street, and $35,000 they can build a house. So we're hoping to raise enough money to give the house away. So that's it's coming up. We got like 9 or 10 days away. So I think it's going to be fun. That's another thing. Like that's on next week. Next week's top 3 is going to be come up with a presentation. Make sure that I can be there
which you'll do
for 2 days.
Friday morning before the event.
Yeah. Make sure that the office is set up and ready for this. I texted my assistant today and I was like, this internet is not acceptable. You need to get this internet fixed. I was like, getting grainy and in and out on a podcast I was doing this morning is embarrassing. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. We did a virtual event for our mastermind group that was unbelievable. Like so cool. The feedback was awesome. We have a bunch of experience with it now. So it's not going to be like, it's not even going to be like this. Like it'll be like a live virtual experience where, I don't know, last time I cut my hair into a mohawk for that event. So maybe I'll do that again, but we'll do some networking. We'll build things in. It's going to be good. It'll be as close to a live experience as we could possibly have from our home office.
Yeah. I'm super excited for that. I'm super glad you're putting that on. I think
I saw you get a ticket. I appreciate it.
I did. Yep. I did. I'm excited for it.
I'm watching every single ticket sale. So I will watch all of you guys.
That's good. I remember in our mastermind meetup, at the beginning of the month, David and Stu were like, all right, we got to get more ticket sales than Bill. And
they're beating me right now. So if you guys get a ticket and it says, how did you hear about it? Make sure that you put my name, not Stu and not Dave, not put my name, 7-figure flipping Bill Allen, anything like that. Cause I need to win this contest. So in fact, I will be winning because I just said, instead of donating some money to the charity, I'm going to put some money into Facebook ads, and we're driving traffic on Facebook.
Oh man. You
might see my ads running on Facebook.
What's the winner get? What's the winner get out of this?
Bragging rights. What else do we need?
I love it. It's going to be all over social media come next weekend. That's awesome.
I can't run the event and lose on ticket sales. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. There you go. Awesome. Bill, where can people find more about you or follow you and hear more from you?
Okay. I have like 20 friends on Instagram, and my company said that I have to have some Instagram followers. So if you're on Instagram and that's the place that you hang out, then come find me on there because I don't have any friends. I'm currently begging for friends on Instagram. There's a couple people here that might be on there. So it's Bill Allen REI. So that's one place. Shameless plug for my team and my staff is making fun of me. The company has like, I don't know, 5,000-10,000 followers, and I've got like 20. So I'm working on it. I promise I'll put some cool stuff on there. There we go. I got one. That's all it takes. And our YouTube channel, like big thing that we're doing is we're putting up the 7-day flip thing. So 7-figure flipping on YouTube. I would say we're going to launch some really cool stuff every Monday night at 8:00 Central. We're putting out we're premiering a new TV show. So it's a series that's got 11 or 12 episodes. of flipping houses in 7 days. So it's called 7 Day Flip. I'm highlighting one of the guys that I know that in our group. If you guys came to Flip Back Live, you saw him talk, Tyler Jensen. Really, really cool. It's going to be really good. I'm excited about it. And then that's pretty much it. Like sevenfigureflipping.com. That's kind of where we hang out, the podcast, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. We're all over the place. So if
all you gotta do is
Facebook
search
is your favorite place, if YouTube is your favorite place, if
Yeah.
Instagram's your favorite place, I have no presence on TikTok. So sorry.
Yeah. Which I love about your social media too, is it's all like super value add. So wherever you go and find Bill, like you're going to get good stuff out of it, like that YouTube channel. I'm seriously excited about it. I think that'll be really good.
Oh, that's going to be a game changer for all. Like we are going to show you guys how to flip houses in 7 days. Like if you want, we're dedicated. I just did a podcast with Tyler on Monday morning. I did a podcast with Jeffrey this morning. So if you go to the 7 Figure Flipping podcast or the YouTube channel that we put the videos up there, you can see Tyler's came out today. He's talking about it. And then Thursday, Jeffrey, his project manager, is our internet connection was crappy, but it'll be as good as it can be. But he'll talk about that, about his, and it's cool because I've never talked to a contractor or project manager on the podcast before. So I asked him, like, how do you find good contractors? How do you like to get in the mind of a project manager? Like, how did you meet Tyler? How did you guys get together? And
that's the one that wears the crazy pants.
Yeah, he's the
genie like pants. The genie pants. Yep.
Yeah,
it's
like MC Hammer pants. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are.
Can't touch the 7 Figure Flip.
That's right. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be HGTV for real estate investors. Like
that's awesome.
Real deal. I actually might have to beep out HGTV from one of Tyler's interviews. I don't know if they're gonna sue me or not. So he's like, "This isn't HGTV. This is the real thing." So I was like, I might have to beep that out. I'm not sure what they can do on YouTube, if they can shut me down or what.
Yeah, well, excited for that. And Bill, thanks again so much for doing this evening. I think got a ton of value. I got a whole bunch of notes here written down. So just thank you for taking your time, and let you go put the kiddos to bed. But everybody, thanks again for joining in, and everybody have a good evening.
Hey, thanks, before you leave, veteranslive.com. That's the site for the tickets. Make sure you put my name in there.
Mention Bill's name.
I need to win. Maggie, it was nice to see you. And Charlie, nice meeting you. And Bridget and Jesse and Melissa and everybody, have a good night. Thanks so much for having me. I had a good time.
See you, Bill.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Welcome.